Hi, I'm Stacey Borasky. I'm the Director of Accreditation with the Council on Social Work Education, and I've been a social worker for a really long time. I got interested in social work, honestly, because my mom was a social worker. She worked for the Department of Human Services when I was a kid, and she really taught me to care about the well-being of the people around me and to not think about going through life just being focused on myself, that I had an obligation as a human being to try to do something with my life that was meaningful. And so I got that kind of value system ingrained in me from her on a personal level, but also what she did for a living. And so I was really interested in pursuing social work as an undergraduate degree, not having a clue what I wanted to do when I graduated, just knew I wanted to do some sort of service work. And loved my undergraduate degree. I got a BSW and got a job right out of college working for United Cerebral Palsy. So I worked with adults who had been institutionalized and were now living in the community and being integrated back into trying to have a normal life as much as possible. And I worked in the residential units helping to take care of folks, and I also supervised units and had staff that worked and did direct care. Did that for about a year. It was really rewarding, very challenging, but very rewarding work. And decided then I wanted to go back to grad school. So I went and got my master's in social work, stayed in the field, and while I was in grad school, I had this really meaningful experience as an internship working in a community health center in rural West Virginia, where I was from. And the social worker there allowed me to work with the high school students. She was not a person who was a kid person. She liked elderly people, and so this was an avenue she hadn't explored yet. And she said, "Stacey, would you be willing to go do some kind of work with kids?" And I was like, okay, sure, take that plunge, try something new. And I ended up meeting with the principal and the vice principal and coming up with a program for kids, 7th and 8th graders, to do a lot of social skills, conflict management, handling your feelings, and did these weekly sessions with these kids and fell in love with 7th and 8th grade kids. When I tell people that, I usually get these looks like, what? You want to, what? Teenagers? They're terrible. But I loved them. They were full of energy, still looking for like an adult that would care about them, but didn't really want that to be their parents to tell them what to do. And so I really kind of filled a gap for them and found that that was a passion for me. And so when I graduated with my master's, I got a job working in a mental health center and doing outpatient counseling with teenagers and their families mostly. And then I got an opportunity to start a project that became really a lifelong passion for me and has continued to be a passion in child welfare. I was able to start a pilot program for kids in foster care who have teenagers who had been in the system for pretty much at least a few years, some of them as much as 7, 8 years. Lots of moves, lots of transition, and we're having a real tough time learning to live in a family. And this program was designed as a therapeutic foster care intervention to give them a very structured but supportive family with lots of training who wouldn't give up on them. And we did it as a pilot in Tennessee, designed to try to keep these kids in stable places. And we were so successful that the state said, hey, we want to do more of this. And so I ended up with a much larger program and became a director of children's services for the mental health center, where I had a treatment foster care program, as well as case management to try to help kids not have to be moved from their families. And it was just a wonderful experience. And the only reason I quit is because I had a baby and decided I needed to take some time off. And that ultimately led me into teaching. So I was really looking for something to do while I was staying home with my daughter. So I did some consulting work, and I was able to help other foster care programs get started, which was really fun. I got to go to different parts of the country and learn about how foster care looked in different places. And then I did some teaching on the side, and lo and behold, the university said, we kind of like what you're doing. Would you consider coming to work for us full time? And got to go back to school to do it though. So that's what I did. I ended up getting a tenure track position with the university and went back and got my degree in education. So I have a doctorate in education and 2 social work degrees, and have spent the rest of my career since then working in higher ed. Fortunately for me, because of the emphasis on research in higher ed and also doing program evaluation work that benefits your community as a social worker, I got a really great opportunity as a faculty member to work at the Tennessee state level, revamping the entire child welfare system while I was a faculty member. So I was in charge of preparation for social workers coming to work in child welfare, doing all the training, the pre-service training, in-service training, preparation for foster parents. I had a huge big contract that managed that whole process for the state, and it was wonderful. It was, again, I stayed in child welfare. It's been my passion, but I've been able to do different levels of it because of my social work education and training, and that is by and large by far the most impact I've ever had on the child welfare system. And I think I'm very proud of what we were able to do to change the way people approach their work and to come at it from a perspective of compassion and service to families, and not from a criminal justice mindset that that people aren't criminals, they're people who need help. And I'm very proud of that work. Ultimately, I stayed in higher ed for 20 years, and then I got a chance to come to work at the national level here at CSWE, and now I get a chance to work helping social work programs educate students be the best that they can be. So I feel like I've really kind of spanned the gamut of possibilities. I've done direct practice, mostly with children and families, mental health work, foster care, but then I've really progressed and been able to do things that change the system overall. And ultimately now I'm in a place where I can actually impact social work education, so it's been a lot of fun.